All right, in this video, I'm going to walk you through a very simple set of questions that I ask everybody to go through when they're picking the right open house. All right, everybody, in this video, I'm going to simply walk you through the questions I would ask so that you're picking the right open house for your business. The reason I put this together was because I get asked over and over and over again about how do you make open houses work for your business? Because agents have tried and tried but failed. So I put together this few slides for you, and I use this when I coach my mega team and my private clients so that when they do take an open house and go through the energy to host one, that they're not going to waste their time and they're going to use it as a very strong lead generation resource for their business. All right, so let's jump right in. All right, point number one. What is the first thing that we need to think about when picking the right open house? Well, it's the times. It's like, when should I be doing this? Now, I want to start off with not the time of the day, but it's when in the listing cycle should I be doing this? Now, many times you'll get asked by some, top producer in your office to say, I've got an open house available. Can anybody do this on Saturday or Sunday? And we don't ask the question about this. Well, how long has it been on the market, right? Is it a launch weekend? And so my first stage, and it may sound even pertinent, is launch weekend is always numero uno. Very often the listing agent will list and launch and do like a Saturday open house. They might plan for it, they might door knock for it, but not very often will you see a listing agent do both. To do Saturday and Sunday for listing dominant agent is really rare unless they don't have other clients on the go. So you can piggyback. If they're picking the Sunday, you go ahead and say, well, I'll do the Saturday instead. And why you're doing this, because you're squeezing the most juice and the opportunities for new real estate conversations, and it's not a stagnant listing. So how would you do this? Well, you would follow the agents in your office that you know that you can serve and help, and you would watch all the new listings that come up throughout the week. And if they even have assistants, that even though you're not on the team and you're one of these helping hands that helps with busy agents listings, is let me know ahead of time before you launch so that I can piggyback on whichever day you don't want to have. So the second one would be, well, if you can't catch the launch, you're being asked and you're still wanting to have more of these, it's around the price drops, because the price drops in our systems act just like a launch. So they trigger the emails to go out, all of the websites to get updated, all the syndication sites to go, and oftentimes over a price drop, the listing agent is also going to go ahead and push more marketing around their listings. So if you can piggyback and pick a right open house around a price drop as well, it will feel very similar to the way a launch looks and feels. And then the third one, around the same vein, the timing, is when the status changes. So again, every MLS system is different how you record a pending deal or an under contract deal. So I don't know where you are and what board you're part of, but if there is a status change, very similar to if a property goes active to pending or pending to sold, or a price drop happens, and whatever would happen to recirculate this back out to all the people that are on the MLS system, everybody who's part of search results, everybody who's signed up for online online responses. This also acts as a status opportunity that again acts like a price drop, again acts like a listing launch. So to start off, the timing is important. When you're not a part of one of these three things and it's week number 2, you might have a little bit of energy, right? You might have a few people that didn't come by. Then you go to week number 3, and then this drops off to one person. Week number 4, you may have like half a body that shows up, or just a nosy neighbor that didn't come by. So as time goes on, you can see the amount of people that come will be less and less. So again, that's number 1. Number 2, some of the lesser known opportunities around picking the right open house is these. So number 1 is matching the time of your competitor's newly launched opens. So again, if your house has been sitting there for 3 weeks, but then you got a new competitor, this new shiny star that comes in to go and compete against you, you see that they're open housing on the Saturday from 2 to 4. Well, go ahead and jump in so you can use their energy for your listing, right? This is one of those strategies to see. You got to watch your competition. A lot of agents kind of list, and as they go, they forget about what's happening around, and they certainly don't look at this to be like, are they hosting an open that I can piggyback off us. Again, the same thing happens again at somebody else's listing where they have undergone a price change, right? Or even a status change. So if that happens again, well, they're likely to go back and do their own open house. But this thing has energy behind it, right? This thing is better than your listing that's a little bit stale. And if it's got energy, we'll go ahead and piggyback around it again and place your sign, and then so that the traffic can go to both of your houses and their houses. And while your home is still not undergoing a price drop, you can take advantage of that for you, right? So this is two of the things that I think are forgotten about as we're trying to bring out the best opportunities for us. And then I guess the final thing with this, everybody, is if it's not just a competitor, but just other listings in the community that are already driving people, and you've got this giant map, right? And you've got all these streets happening, and you have a few competitors on your street, and you know they're going to be dragging cars in, right? Little cars are going to be coming there to view, and you're a little guy over here. But if these things aren't really competition for you, but they're still hosting opens, and you see the community is going to be a little bit more full with open houses, well, again, why not go ahead and toss your sign out there and your sign out here and your sign out here, so that, and even though yours is a little more stale, you're going to bounce off the community's energy, not just the direct competitor. And again, you might get those people that come by and missed it in the first time. Now, when selecting an open house, if your timing is dead on, you're going to have the best opportunity. But how do you also corral and make energy around your listing? And one of the things that I talk about is location dependent. So if you think about a community and you're choosing, you have the opportunity to work with a bunch of different realtors, and you're trying to pick the right one that's going to give you the most attraction, the most lead flow that comes in. If you're on a community that has, you know, a grid, I call it. Like if you're in a big city and there's a lot of grids where the homes are more like this, and the inner city of my city is like this. And if there's a little open house in here, and there's a main drag, there's another main drag, and we're trying to get traffic to the middle of this grid. It's hard to do that, right? It's really hard to do that. So you want to find, if you can, a community that might have only a few ways in and out. So if there's only two ways into this community, and you can place a nice sign here and a nice sign here, this is much better for you than trying to place signs here and say, how do I get energy to come to this bullseye? It's very difficult. So the proximity within the community is very important. But if you happen to be in a community like this one, you guys, I would always want to be the one that's closest to one of the busy roads. So again, the busy road has all the traffic. And if you can get your sign here, even in one of these very like transient communities where there's 100 ways in and out, if that's the case for you, pick one that's here rather than right down in the middle. Because again, you have more chance for more viewers, walk by traffic, random folks, and the nosy neighbors that are coming and going. So those would be some things that I consider. And then of course, if we're hosting open houses on Saturdays and Sundays, well, are there some high traffic destinations within the community? So if you've got, again, the community and there's a giant soccer field right over here, or a baseball field, and there's a ton of families that come and they park around here, and you're one of these houses facing here, do you think this is a good idea? Well, the answer is surely. Right? So if you can pick one around this, and this would be things like community parks, soccer fields, rec centers, hockey arenas, and I'll even talk on the other slide, is like a timing thing, would be around Sunday open houses. Because if you're near a church, you're going to see this parking lot just fill up with cars. And again, they're out here and they're socializing and they're going to see it. And if they're coming to this place, this is their commute to church, which is very important for their lives. Maybe they want to live close, but they're not really looking, and you capture well, this may be a seller, this may be a buyer, right? So these are some things I want you to think about. Now, again, if we want to go further down this path, familiarity of your name and your brand can help you. So as you're picking and deciding upon this, if an extra thing is that your brokerage has had a lot of sales, or your team has had a lot of volume in a certain area where your brand is recognized, but it's not your name yet. So if there's lots of volume placed in this area and sales have happened, piggyback off of that. If there's a congregation of sales in your brokerage or team in a certain area, this, again, on top of all the other things I talked about, compound together and give you, well, more credibility when the people show up because they've seen that brand around. And then of course, there's just proof of success that you can use the term we rather than me. We just sold, that one just sold, we just listed, and none of them has to be yours, but you can use that conversation. And then finally, of course, the more you know about all of these areas, if you can check the boxes, and every time I give you one of these, like how to pick the right open house, and you happen to know this thing, and you know you can talk really well about this community, or you're a little community nerd, then it's also going to help you more and more, and they're going to see value in you even though it may not be your listing. So hopefully this little video gives you some attack points to pick the right open houses so that you can use it as an incredible lead generation source. Personally, I know agents that make six-figure income every single year just off of this most traditional way to build our businesses. Go out there and have a blast.